Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today is the day. Okay, Asad again, Asad. Okay, so we have left off talking about the picture script.py. Alright, so we have added this code to our project, but I have failed to mention one thing, and that thing is that we need to separate between the file name and the default picture name, or just the default folder name from the file name. Okay, so this function, how I made it, isn't actually the way we are gonna keep using it. And so why? First of all, you notice that each time we start our application, we call the dunder init function, which is the constructor of this class, is being called, and each time this happens, the default picture gets the default picture gets assigned here, and we call the handle UI, which is itself calls whatever it executes whatever is in it, and update picture is in it. So this whole code gets executed each and every time we open our application. So if you notice that we have the width, the height of the default image that we have, but we don't need to resize it each time and every time we open the application. For now we are gonna leave it this way because it doesn't make any difference for now, but later on we want to customize this more, because first of all, in our project, when we want to save pictures, if you have noticed that I didn't actually save it to the database, and here is why. So each time you actually save a picture, so there is two ways to save a photo for your project. First thing is to use the blob in the database, and this is not recommended because it takes a lot of space, so the database over time gets slower and slower to use. The second way is to just save the path of the photo and save the photo itself in an external folder. So the first thing is you need to have a default folder to save all the pictures of your project. That's the first. Second, you need to make sure that the folder is unreachable by any other or another outside application or user. The third is that you actually have the path and you know where that folder is, so you get the photos from there. So the database only has the path for the picture or the photo. The photo itself is stored in a folder that we know of and that we give explicitly to the application. So what I have done is I've created my own pictures folder, like you see in the data file or folder. So there is a pictures folder. That's where I'm gonna save our pictures. I just want to bring that out for now. And the other thing is that you have to know how important this step is, because you might say that why not just leave the pictures wherever the user decides to put them in. I will say that exactly because the database only knows where the picture is for the first time. Maybe the user tries to change something or delete or move the picture somewhere else, and the database doesn't know about that. So you need to set up a default folder, like I've said, and we are gonna set that up in code as well, but not now because we are not at that phase yet. I just want to bring that up for now, like I said. Okay, so the other thing is in the database, when we want to save the path of our photo, how exactly are we gonna do it? Okay, so there is the first thing, which is, or the first thought, which is to save the whole path of the picture, and this is not recommended as well. Why? Because we have actually one default folder for all the pictures in our project, so why not just save that in a variable and add a custom name for every photo in that folder. Like for example, we're gonna have students, so let's just say we have Ahmed and Muhammad. Okay, so what you are gonna do is have the default path folder and then plus the student name, which will be Ahmed or Muhammad in this case, and the whole thing, or the whole string of the path name should be something like data pictures, and we are not using the absolute name from the home directory because we are not concerned about where the home is, because this data is in our project, and the index.py file that we are executing right now is on the same directory as the data folder. So data pictures / plus student name, which will be either Ahmed or Muhammad, and the plus the JPEG or the extension of the file. And you get this by doing you remember that path split that we had done? We used this split function to split the name. So whenever we get the path in here, so let me just show you the index, but whenever we get the path in here, we're gonna split by a backslash and then get -1, which is the last thing from the thing that is gonna be passed. That's either a list or a tuple. I don't know what that is, so we're just gonna figure that out. So it's either this way, so we're gonna do path split by backslash and then get the last thing, which we usually do with -1. I don't know what the split function exactly returns. It's either a list or a tuple, so let's just figure that out. So what is the path? Okay, so we already given the path in here by the thing, so let's just do type of path split by anything. We don't actually care, so let's just see what it returns. Oh, come back. Okay, so let's print the whole thing. Okay, what is that? Okay, it's a list. It returns a list. So the split function returns a list of items, and we are getting the last item using the -1. We are gonna get the last item, but not at this moment. For now, we're just gonna leave everything as it is. I just want to mention, like I've said, that we are not storing the pictures on the database itself, but we are only saving or storing the path to that picture. And in order for us to guarantee that we are going to have it at a later time when we need it, or when we pull the student from the database, we are going to have those pictures or those photos in our own default folder, and that default folder is going to be declared in here. For example, something like self default folder, and it's called data pictures. Alright, so later on you can do something like this: student name, pass student name to it. but we're not gonna have that for now. Like I've said, the next thing now that we're gonna do is have that side menu thing that we have been planning. So that's it for this video. It's actually a nice thing to mention for our comeback. I have actually took the whole Ramadan of recording videos. I'm so lazy. So take care. La la la.